Lesson 8, we're going to be talking about power chords. Power chords are one of the most commonly used chords in popular music, rock, blues, and pop music. It is made up of just two notes. So technically, it's not a true chord. A true chord is made up of three or more notes. Thus, this is just really an interval of a root note and the fifth interval of the root note. So it's really just an interval, but it's referred to most commonly as a power chord, or sometimes referred to as a fifth chord or a five chord. So it's comprised of the root note and the fifth interval. So for example, if we wanted to play an A power chord, it's made up of A as the root note, A, and then if you count down your major scale to the fifth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth interval is an E. So an A and an E, the root and the fifth interval. That makes a power chord. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about power chords using open strings. So the first one is A. We're going to play it in a different position. So if you take your open fifth string, A, and we're going to find E, which is right here, the second fret on the D string. We're going to play that with our first finger. We're going to hit these two strings together, your open A and your D string, fretting the second fret. That's an A power chord. It's the same as this one I showed you. It's just in a different position. So we have, we're going to be using that power chord, and an A5, or an A power chord. Then we're going to move that down, and we're going to play a D power chord using our open D string and our first finger on the second fret of the G string, which is an A. That makes our fifth interval. D to A is our fifth interval. And we're going to hit those two strings together. So when you're picking two strings at a time, you want one swift motion. Okay, and the third power chord we're going to be using is our E5, E power chord. So we're going to be using our open E string and our first finger on the second fret of the A string. That's a B. So that makes our fifth interval. So that's our E5. So these are all using, these are open string power chords. So there's our A5, our D5, and our E5. So we're going to be applying these chords to a really common chord progression called a 12-bar blues chord progression. The 12-bar blues pattern, at its most basic, is based on the 1, 4, and 5 chords of a key. Chords may also be represented with a different notation system, thus the Roman numerals you see. These three chords are the basis of thousands more pop songs, which thus often have a blues sound even without using the classical 12-bar form. A standard blues progression or sequence of notes typically features three chords based on the first, written as the Roman numeral 1, the fourth, written as the Roman numeral 4, and the fifth, written as the Roman numeral 5, notes of an 8-note scale. Okay, so now watching me and looking at your tab there, we're going to start with our A5 power chord, the first chord, or the one chord of the 12-bar blues progression. Now, you'll see on the tab, the notes, when they're stacked on top of each other, that means you play them at the same time. So you're going to see a 0 and a 2. That's our A5 chord. So the 12-bar blues pattern starts with 4 bars on the one chord. So we're going to play those as quarter notes. Quarter notes meaning 4 beats per measure. 1 beat equals a quarter note. So the first bar would go like this. So we're going to do that 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to move to the 4 chord of the 12-bar blues progression. We're going to play this chord for 2 bars. 4 beats per bar. So we move to our D chord, which is first finger, 2nd fret, G string. We're going to hit our open D and our G string together for 2 bars. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to move back to our A5 for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to move to our E5 chord for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the 1 chord, or our A5 for 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the 5 chord, the E chord for 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you put that all together, it should sound like this. That's our basic 12-bar blues pattern. Now there's all kinds of things you can do with that. You can embellish it a million different ways, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the future. But for right now, just get the pattern down. Work on picking 2 strings at a time. And just let your ear get used to the way this pattern sounds.